Hello and welcome to another video in the developer series. These videos are only really intended for developers. This is a particular issue with phone cleanup, and it's best to just demonstrate the problem and then the solution. So we have a particular issue here where a customer is complaining that this particular customer is getting multiple SMS. And indeed, they are getting multiple SMS. You can see 113 and 113. This problem is actually the platform working. This particular issue was because the customer was doing big batch SMSs and utilizing the feature of the multiple send tos. You can do this as a single or in batch, but they were using this particular feature, and yes, this feature does work, and it cannot possibly do duplicate checking because phone numbers are in a variety of formats. It would slow down the batch process, so it's your dirty data. It's your job to have clean data, not ours. So, but we gave you a nice little tool to help clean that up. So basically, left to your own devices, you'd either not use the feature, but that's a shame. You just really want to detect this situation and handle that. So we've written this little flow that we provide. And again, this is a developer series, so we'll just quickly go through the flow. Here we're just going to, and we're always going to run this flow in debug mode. This is only for developers, just to do 1Z cleanup jobs, super simple flow. We're just going to find some contacts that have both a mobile phone and a phone field. You'll notice we conveniently provide this unformatted formula field where we strip out all the characters and stuff, so you can really compare a clean phone number to a clean phone number. Whereas if you were using the mobile to the phone, if one of them had a +1 in it, the other one didn't, they would, a string comparison in Salesforce wouldn't work. That's also why we can't deduplicate this stuff. These are custom fields created by the Boulder CRM team. So anyway, we're going to run a big list. For those of you learning flows, we do this as a collection. We always have naming conventions, and we always have commented this. We do this as a collection, meaning all records, so that we can then put it into a loop variable here, so that we can spin through the loop. But the loops always want a collection of something to spin through. We're going to just go through the next items. I built in a little bit of some tools here so that it wouldn't go crazy spinning through every record in the database. So I just created some counter variables to count as many times as I go through the loop. And I provide an input variable here just so that as you're debugging it, maybe you only want to run it one iteration and see what it does, or 3 or 3,000 iterations, whatever. You'll see when I run it. So it's just spinning through here, and all it's doing is saying, hey, should I keep going? Should I keep going? Is the counter greater? Is the counter less than the number of iterations I'm supposed to process? We usually do program a no path, but there's nothing to do. It's just going to fall out the loop on the no path. If it's a no situation, it'll just end naturally. There's no point in connecting it to something like that. You would never do something like that to connect the no path. I just do it out of habit, just in case there was some kind of no path in here. And then at the end of the day, all we're doing is looping through these things and comparing the loop contact. We're in a particular contact. Compare the mobile to the phone. If those two equal each other, then we're going to update them. Now notice on this first iteration, just because I'm scared, I'm not going to go crazy and update it at first. So I disconnected this on purpose, and I just want to run it first as a debug path to kind of see what it does, and then we'll hook it up for real. So Nate Wood happens to be our first person in our list. I picked him strategically because I've run this a few times. And so we just debug that, and it's okay. And I'll say I'll run this 3 times, and we'll see what it's doing. So here's the big old list of people, thousands of people probably in this scenario. It's hitting the first guy, old Nate Wood here, and left to our own devices, we spin through there, and we'd update his records. And then just to demonstrate for developers, this is a developer series, I just put this assignment variable, and I thought maybe you'd want to email yourself when done or something like that. So I made this concatenated string of all the contacts I've processed. So John Dmart here, if I wanted to go check out old John Dmart in that list and make sure that he meets our criteria, right? We'd go John Dmart like so and find that particular record. We better see that he's got a matching phone field. Perfect scenario here also. Sometimes the records look like this. That's why you want those clean to clean phone numbers. So now let's just run it for real. So I will edit the flow. I will connect it for real. I'll just do it on the 3 records again. John Dmart and can't remember the other guy, Nate Wood. All right, so we complete it, save it, activate it, debug it. I don't foresee ever running this standard somewhere else. So we debug it, and we'll just say run it 3 times. We can see at the very bottom that we should have done Nate Wood, John, Katie Becker, and Joyce Ashbury. So it hits Joyce as the 4th row, but then it missed Joyce because it falls out of the loop, right? It's greater than, so it finishes the loop. So let's just take a look at old John here. We'll just refresh his page and his phone number. You can vary this up if you don't agree with me that the phone should be whacked, or if you're using regular 360 CTI phone numbers, you would be advised maybe to put a verify number API call right here. Just doing a simple action. You can put a simple action right here and run the verify number. Can't remember exactly where that is, but it's Apex action. Somewhere here, verify phone. Pretty easy little bad boy to run. Just it takes a couple of parameters to run in there. So, alrighty, thanks for your time.